Can you please raise your hand if you're from Libya, Yemen, Syria, Somalia, Sudan, Iran, or Iraq? Under the Trump administration, you would have been banned from entering America. And now you sigh and you lean back into your seat. She's about to rant about Trump. But relax, this isn't a problem with the president. It's a problem with the people. Now, if you're going to think to yourself, oh, but this doesn't affect me. Except it does. Through social media, it has become so easy for us to connect with one another. And with that, it is also so easy to leave hurtful messages. Now, people tend to avoid talking about what's going on in America right now because it's controversial. And so they would much rather stay quiet than cause a fight. But now isn't the time to stay quiet. It's the time to be controversial. It seems that every few decades or so, we find a new group of people to discriminate against. The Jews, the blacks, the Irish, the Japanese. Do you think that if people had stayed silent then, we would have been able to destigmatize society's perception of these ethnic groups? People had to be controversial then as they do now. And when we look back at our history, we see that the way we have moved forward is through controversy. For example, let's look at the civil rights movement. Do you think that it was widely accepted by everyone? It was controversial, but it worked. And yet we forget these things. We forget our past. We forget our history. We sit in skyscrapers and forget the ground that they were built upon. We forget what those who came before us had to do to get us to where we are. And each time we continue to make the same mistakes and we continue to discriminate. Now, for those of you who would much rather be silent and remain neutral than speak up about controversial topics, let me remind you, as Dante once said, the darkest places in hell are reserved for those who maintain their neutrality in times of moral crisis. And we are in a time of moral crisis. So I urge you, engage in discussion, create debate, speak up about controversial topics, because that's how we accomplish change. We accomplish change through controversy. Thank you.